Hey guys, it's the Defier coming back to you from a long break of school and sports. I finally had time to play some games, and we are getting into the action already. I'm playing Empire Total War. I've noticed that a lot of new people have been playing this game, so I figured, hey, why not? Let's get a commentary up, show people how to play it. As you can see, this is a siege battle. And again, this is Empire Total War. This is not Napoleon. I'm facing this guy called Old Fart, or Old Timer. I'm pretty sure it's Old Fart. But anyway, the rules for this game were no fixed artillery, and this is the early period. And the difference between the early period and late period in Empire Total War is the different kind of units you get. In the early period, it's only early technologies, and in the late period, you get better units, because as technology progresses, you'll get better units. So as you can see, my enemy, America, has a bunch of artillery on this hill, and I did not expect him to bring all this, to be honest with you, and I somehow killed with cannon. But he gets all this, and it's firing at me, and as you can see, these howitzers do look very deadly, but really they're not. As you can see, let's get some close-up on this shot right here. And as you can see, they really don't kill all that many guys. The key is in the late period, the howitzers are a lot better along with the motors, because they can kill, because they have an explosive shot. While this flaming shot's probably the best shot they have for early period, they're still not that great. As you can see, they have don't really do that much to my units over here, particularly. Okay, so let's get to my units real quick before the battle begins. I got 3 light infantry on this flank, my left flank, and I got some Swiss infantry behind them, along with my general in the forest back here. And the difference between the general's bodyguard, Napoleon, Shogun, and Empire, they don't have really any abilities. They're just called the general's bodyguard. And in Napoleon, the general gets better and has like Inspire and Rally, and in the Shogun, it has a lot more. So anyway, my mills consist of 4 Royal Scots. I'm going to call them Royal Scots because that sounds a little bit cooler. And I got 2 pikemen behind them, the good old pikemen of the early period. Now these guys are really sweet. I mean, look at those pikes. They're so deadly. And on my right flank, I got 2 more pikemen and 2 dragoons, which are going behind his lines. My original strategy was I was just going to assault the fort basically from all sides and have my dragoons dismount behind and go from behind. But seeing this is a small wooden fort, that he didn't want to defend from this side apparently. Left flank right here, I got some pot shots off at these, how do you pronounce that? Goraks? Gorkas? I don't really know how to pronounce that, but they look like they're African-American melee infantry, probably. And I've never faced any of these units. Actually, all these units are quite new to me. And so I start firing at these Dahomey Amazons. We're just gonna call them Amazons to make it sound easier. And in the middle here, he's pulling off some pot shots at my pikemen. So I'm deciding to charge these guys in, draw some fire, while I'm gonna support my light infantry with some Scots right here in the middle. And I pulled up some more pot shots at those Goraks with my light infantry, and they are going to come back later in the game. But so as you can see, this fire stuff is starting to actually hurt me quite a bit over here, but no big deal. Still pulling off some pot shots at these Amazons. And as you can see, I'm commencing the center charge right here with my pikemen. I guess you could say I'm using them as a meat shield, but more or less I want to engage all these guys into melee so I can get my Scots to fire. I think, yeah, I do got these guys over here still. I'm going to attack on the right flank a little bit too. The reason I brought all the infantry was because I was thinking about bringing artillery, but once I saw that, look at this, can't really fire artillery from here, can you? But I didn't know what the map was going to be like, so I figured, hey, I'll just go full out infantry assault, because I'll have to climb these walls here anyway. And as you can see, I'm pulling some shots off again at these Amazons, and they're firing back. I'm pretty sure these guys are a form of light infantry, because as you can see, they all fire at once, versus my line infantry, they all fire their first line. So yeah, it was came as a surprise to me that so many new people were playing Empire Total War. Like most of the people that play are 1 stars now, but there's still quite a few people that play. Hence this guy, Old Fart, he still plays this game. And this game is still relatively good. I mean, the online campaign is so fun because you get to select from so many nations. Okay, so let's commence back to the battle. On the right flank, I decided to bring up my remaining Scots. And this hill is, even though it is a hill, this guy, I get some tips while I'm here. One thing he's done, he hasn't bring any really source of infantry to fend off. And big portion of his infantry is up here. And I'll get back to the tip in a second. I just want to get back to this battle. I'm getting some Dragoon charges off in the back right here. I decided not to climb the walls in the back and rather just get a rear charge on these infantry, which turned out to be quite effective. I mean, it did get a good 14 guys on the charge and kill more later. And I'm using my pikemen again to my advantage, and I'm just charging straight into his Minutemen. And I'm going to be trying going for his cav up here if I can. As you can see, I wrapped up this left flank basically, but he's trying to get some cav going over here, which is not going to work out because I'm about to turn around all these guys. And he tries getting these Goriks into melee, but he's too slow with them, and they die off pretty quickly. So as you can see, I'm finally getting his first line of men are routing the outer rim of his men. The problem I was going to address that he has about good portion of his line infantry are in the fort, and even though they are using their artillery, they're not really going to do that much because my cav is right here, and the foot artillery in this game is only good against cav until the late period, which is where they get the shrapnel shot that extends it's like an extended grape shot. And the other problem he had no solid infantry corps in the middle, so as you can see, that outer rim quickly fell to my overwhelming Scot fire against his either weaker line infantry or just Minutemen, which is militia or light infantry. And the pikemen did work out his meat shield real well, or else going up this hill would have been a lot harder. Probably would have lost a lot more men. But as you can see, I don't have any regular line infantry. This is Swiss, I got Scots. They're all better than the regular line infantry when it comes to melee. And the Swiss infantry are better at accuracy and reload speed, I'm pretty sure. The reason for that was I figured I had to assault a fort and I have to climb the walls, so I just fixed my bayonets and charge up there because they have better melee stats as well, and I'd be able to overwhelm him with my infantry numbers. In this case, I was still able to overwhelm him because he didn't have any really good infantry. Even though he did have this hill, his artillery was not put to really good effect. As I said, full artillery is really only good against cav and infantry when they get close. But as you can see, he's not in a really good position for them to fire at any close range targets. He had all of his men in front of his artillery, and his howitzers didn't pay off for what the cost of them were. They might have killed about 50 men, maybe a piece, if that. But my overwhelming infantry numbers and his lack of howitzer kills because of the time period and how effective they are sort of killed off his chance of winning there. So some tips for defending a fort while we're at it. If you're going to defend a small fort like this, I probably should have brought some artillery because you can destroy wooden walls very easily. But for some tips, this guy had a good idea. He would have done a lot better, one, if it was the late period, two, if he used his artillery more effectively when I got to close range, and some maybe more effective targets like my Swiss infantry would have been better. Three, get some solid infantry to defend your fort. And if you're going to use the sides, try to bring some light infantry so you can shoot at him as he's coming up the hill. But this guy did the right thing. He had a small fort, so he deployed on the outside. That was a good thing he did. He deployed spikes. He tried defending the hill, but due to his lack of infantry, as you can see, he wasn't not allowed, but he couldn't fend off against these Scots. And the United Provinces, if you're going to go early period, is a really good nation. They're one of the only nations to have a really good, these so-called elite, you could call infantry for the most part. these guys right here, the Swiss. And for the most part, we're just gonna wrap it up here. He has a few units in the back and the side, but no big problem because I still got a bunch of basically untouched infantry for the most part up here. And as you can see, we got his last outer line going right here on our chain route. As you can see, the game's almost wrapped up. So this cav engagement went pretty well over here. Those regiment of horse did last quite a while, but no problems there at all. They're still alive, and we're going to go charge the units back here to slow them down or try to kill them. And then for the remainder of the time, I'm just going to try to advance onto this fort so we can speed up the progress and look at this. Yeah, so I definitely encourage people to start playing this game again. It's a very fun game. It's a bit different than Napoleon, seeing that the fact that infantry battles are a little bit slower because the infantry a bit slower than in Napoleon, and the Shogun infantry shoot mighty fast, and their range is almost outrageous. I mean, I'm pretty sure guns and artillery in the Napoleonic era was a little bit better than back then in medieval Japan when the samurai were falling. And I have read a few books on that recently, and I'll just give my little 2 cents to Follow the Samurai. It's a pretty good game if you're going to get Shogun 2 Total War, but you should definitely get Follow the Samurai with it. The graphics with the blood are astounding, best I've seen in any Total War game ever. The infantry fights are very quick, but I've seen some very good ones recently, and I'd encourage people to get it. It's historically accurate for the most part, I'd say, besides the accuracy of the artillery. And besides that, it's all good. So, as you can see right now, we're just advancing on the fort. And just going to wrap up that real quick, and going to wrap up this flank because my cav couldn't wipe out these units. And that's about the end of the game. So a good unit to my opponent, Old the Fart. I'm pretty sure it's called still. For some reason, I got my general killed right here. Oh, his spikes. I forgot about that. That's how he died. And I suggest people start playing this game again. But I recommend buying about any Total War game. This, Napoleon, Empire, which is this game, Shogun. Because they're all really good games. As you can see, just wrapping up, I got this game in a bag, basically. But yeah, there's been a lot of new people playing this game, so if you're new to this game, I hope you take away that any advice that you got from this game of any mistakes that me or my opponent made, or how to position your troops. For tips for new people, because I've seen this a lot, I'll always bring light infantry to battles and always put them in front of your infantry to get some first shots off in the skirmish. Be wary of what time period it is, late or early, because that can differ your units drastically, and the kinds of tactics you use to beat your opponents. So it's about done. We'll get to the results screen in a second. And the reason I've been gone for so long is because I've been busy with school, homework, and sports. So I'll be coming back in a little bit. Well, I'm back, of course. But as you can see, enemy killed 1,141 versus his 824, and losses. But surprisingly, just because he had less costly infantry, they cost less. He was able to deploy about the same amount of units as mine, but I still had better units. As you can see, the Swiss and Scots did really good against my opponent. And it was the Old Fart. Well, anyway, good game, Old Fart. And thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.